Hi everyone and welcome to Psyched with Setmire. Today we're going to look at the differences between classical and operant conditioning. And I'm assuming here that you know a little bit about them. We're just going to review some of the differences in the way that they work relatively quickly. So let's look at some of the key differences between these two different types of learning. And of course they work together, but they do work a little bit differently. Classical conditioning tends to be relatively involuntary and somewhat passive in nature. You often don't even realize that it's happening to you, right? You might not be an active participant in it. It often happens even without our awareness. Versus operant conditioning tends to be very voluntary. It's very active in nature. You make a choice whether or not you want to perform a behavior more or less, depending on what happens next. Classical conditioning relies quite a bit on association, right? The dog learning to associate the bell with the food, right? So learning to associate or pair two events together. While operant conditioning relies a little bit more on consequences. So, what are the consequences to my behavior? Am I rewarded or punished for what I just did? With classical conditioning, we see a mental, emotional, or physical change that occurs as a result of conditioning. So a change in this manner might be salivating, like the Pavlov's dogs did when they were presented with the food or when they heard the bell ring, or crying as little Albert did when he heard the loud sound and it became paired with the white rat. In operant conditioning, we see a behavioral change that occurs as a result of conditioning. Maybe you study more for your next exam because you didn't do as well as you would have liked on the last one, or you do your chores this week because you don't want to be punished. With classical conditioning, we have people like Ivan Pavlov and John Watson, and terms like the unconditioned stimulus, the unconditioned response, the conditioned stimulus, and the conditioned response. With operant conditioning, we see the prominent people being Edward Thorndike and B.F. Skinner, and we see the big terms being things like punishment and reinforcement. So I hope this was helpful, just a little review of some key differences between these two different types of learning.